Hello everyone. Here, let me tell you a very small story, a very short story. And I know my glasses are pink. I know, and people hate it. That's the reason why I continue using them. Uh, this is a very short story. This will be like 10 minutes. Um, During the colonization, around 163 different tribes from Africa were dispersed, were separate, and were brought to America. These 163 apparently tribes, I'm totally sure there were more. Someone just stopped counting because it was bored. Uh, they were brought to America, and from them we just have registered that at least 92 different tribes arrived in America, remaining their original language and culture. From them to we just have actually a register of 25 different languages in South America that come from Africa. All of these languages and cultures and spirituality and magic, all of this that was brought to America in the hands and minds and hearts of the black people who was being mistreated, all of this shift the ways of magic of America in many aspects. I'm not talking just about South America, candomblé, quimbanda, umbanda, palo, mayombe, macumba, lucumi, santeria, and so many others. I'm not just talking about South America. I'm talking also about how all of this magic, culture, history, spirituality, ancestry conceptions shift the minds of the practitioners in North America, voodoo and hoodoo, for example. If you think about this, we have a very strong historical conception here. When we talk about the slaves from Africa, the slavery, the process of slavery, not just from Africa, the process of slavery in history, we usually just accept the fact of the slaves that were being kidnapped, tortured, and abused in so many ways, in so many aspects, for so much time, and they were brought to America. We forget that actually Native Americans in Central America and South America, many natives, indigenous, were enslaved too, millions of them. Also, when we talk about Native Americans, we usually refer, Native Americans, he's talking about Native Americans, so probably he's talking about Native Indigenous Americans from North America, United States, Canada, and Groenland. But not actually when I talk about Native Americans, I'm referring to the whole continent. That includes South America, that includes Brazil. Because all of this is a continent. I don't have any problem with the fact that United States is called United States. I know that some people don't like it, especially American people. But believe me, this is not a conversation that actually we have in Latin America. We don't really care. We have our own political problems. We don't really care which is your name. You can change it to Lady Liberty of America and we will be happy. We don't really care. But it's a history about how this name was shifted to United States of America. It's a very interesting history as research for peace, I think, and evolution, how all of these states were brought together and torn in America. All of these, the slaves from Africa, the slaves of America, Native Americans, in South America, North America, all of them in some way accept all of these old traditions, all of these old practices from Africa, and they try to bring together and blend together all of this. And they try to shift and create, I can listen myself in this way, sorry. They try to put something together, because when the slaves were brought to here, to the continent, the one thing that they remain, that they have in their hands, that they can control is their fate. You can break me, you can kidnap me, you can torture me, you can abuse me, you can take me out of my family, you literally take me out of my continent, but you don't go to break my fate. So they bring their traditions, their magic, their culture, history, all of these patakis and stories about the orishas, all of this amazing blend of magic and practice. But when they come here, they don't have the opportunity to continue practicing in the same way. Not just for the limitations of the religion, the patriarchy, the Catholicism, and blah blah blah. Also because it's not the same herbs, it's not the same plants, the same trees. So their offerings, the animal for sacrifice, for them, this was a very complex issue. All of this after the fact that the religion was welcome here. You are welcome to work for us, but you are not welcome to continue practicing your faith. I have for many years this amazing teacher. She comes from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is partially Venezuela, depending on the map that you choose to read. And I have this teacher from Trinidad and Tobago, but she comes from Haiti, and she was initiated in Haitian voodoo when she was very child. I have the opportunity to learn from her a lot of things because she was my teacher of economics and administration for many years in the college, in the university. And we practiced a lot of things together, and she bring me to her parties and magical meetings, and I bring her to my family and all of this crafting magic that we do together in home. And I have the opportunity to read all of these things from very child, from very, very, very young. And I find how she was a person of color. I mean, I am considered in America a person of color, but in my country I'm not considered a person of color. Look at me, I'm pale. And I learned how beautiful it is for these people embrace their tradition. It's very important for them. For many years we have this amazing problem that everybody ignores and nobody wants to talk about it because nobody wants to be uncomfortable about it. Well, I'm here for that. I am here to make you uncomfortable all the time. I'm sorry. If this bothers you and you want me edit the video or something, I know because I'm human. So you can let it in the comments. I don't really care. That's for the person who made the comment the last time. We prefer avoid this conversation that for many years, for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years, all of these remainings that we have about voodoo, hoodoo, lukumi, and orishas, all of these topics were just taken and shaded in exchange of a bunch of money for white persons, mostly anthropologists. The thing about white anthropologists, I don't have anything against white anthropologists. I have everything against people who don't understand that they have the privilege to do something. When you have a privilege and you don't understand the level of your privilege and you prefer to ignore that you have the privilege to do something, you are in many ways an abuser, but you don't know it because you can turn the privilege in abuse if you don't know it. For example, privilege is not just money. I come from a family not financially well. We live in a very small apartment with just one restroom, 7 people, maybe 9, depending of the moment of the year, in a very small department. But anyways, I have the privilege to go to a public school. I have the privilege to have my parents with me. I have the privilege to have my sisters with me, even when I can't stand them. I have the privilege to go to the college for my own effort, but because I take the opportunities that present in my life, because this speech about you need to look for the opportunities, sometimes opportunities never arrive because the person is not in the perfect place or in the perfect situation or in the perfect financial situation to take the opportunity. And I had the opportunity to do the college, and I had the opportunity to change my career 2 times, and I had the opportunity to end my careers. And I have the privilege to say, I don't want to do anything of this. I want to be an author. I want to be a witch. I want to do tarot readings for a living. I have that privilege. Many people don't have that privilege. I try to be conscious about the privilege that I have. When you give for granted that privilege and you start a career in the school and you visit other countries like Guinea, I have a bunch of names in list. Guinea, Zimbabwe, Brazil. When you visit these kind of places and you just extract a little bit of their magic and their culture to put in a book, you are embracing your privilege. for money. We have this very complicated conversation about witchcraft is political, but witchcraft is not political. Everything in life is political, wherever you like it, accept it or not. It's like that. It's like air. You can't stop believing in the air, but you can't stop breathing just because, oh, I don't believe in air. Okay, please stop breathing. You can do it? Okay, you understand now. The thing about the privilege is people don't know that they have it, and we have a lot of privilege in the metaphysical community. I was recently talking with a friend of mine about this, about how people in the metaphysical community have some kind of privilege and the abuse of that privilege. When you choose to remain silent during uncertain moments, and you consider yourself a witch, a magician, a brujo, except if you are a Western magician, ritualistic stuff, they are not very political, they are very in their thing. Except for them, everyone else comes from a different agreement, from a different background. Voodoo, hoodoo, Afro-caribbean practitioners, magic workers, energy workers, all of these practices come always from some kind of minority. Look for the history of Reiki. All of the magical energetical practices come from some kind of minority. And when you choose this practice, but you ignore all the mistreat against these people, like Feng Shui that come from Asia, or voodoo and hoodoo that come from America, and we have some variations of voodoo and hoodoo in Latin America, variations, and we have Afro-caribbean magic from South America, mostly from Brazil. When you choose one of these paths and you remain silent in moment of crisis for these people, you literally are taking part of the abuser. This literally puts you in the position of an abuser. This puts you in the position of someone who is working for the street, see someone punching at someone else, and just say, I don't care, and continue working. Don't call 911, don't try to make an intervention, just, it's not my problem, and continue working. When you do that, when you remain silent, this is very problematic, because you are literally ignoring the fact of all of these practices you are taking. You are giving it for granted because you have the privilege to remain silent. And most of the time, the people who remain silent is never black people, is never women, or is never Romani people, is never Afro-Caribbean people, is any of them. They are out of this conversation, they are out of this algorithm, because they always act because they are the people who is being abused. And you are taking part of the abuse. I'm not saying that you need to be political like Elohim, who watch the news every morning. You don't need to do that. But when you choose to remain totally silent about some kind of mistreat against minorities, ignoring the fact that all the practices and ways of magic, witchcraft, sorcery, and brujeria come from minorities, you are an abuser. That's the thing. You are literally taking the side of the abuser. Oh, I just don't want to mess up with politics because people will feel uncomfortable in my timeline. I understand, so you are more focused in selling stuff. That's what you are doing. You are more focused in selling classes, workshops, books, events, candles, whatever, because you choose remaining silent. I don't go to put Black Lives Matter in my timeline. I don't go to talk about this. I don't go to talk about trans. Why? Because you know that a lot of the people that buy your stuff are Republicans, or because you know that a lot of the people who follow you and buy your books are white supremacist and racist. Why you don't want to talk about the Ukrainian crisis in your timeline in any moment? Because you know that your books are selling very well in Russia. It's for that. When you choose remaining silent, you are taking the side of the abuser. Please don't take the side of the abuser, because all your practice come from a minority that in any moment of history was abused and probably is being abused now. Just that. Have a nice day.